Hi, my name's Stacey Graham and I'm a born and bred Safety Bay, Rockingham girl. And I've been here all my life and I just love it. I want to tell you today a story about my parents, Audrey and Kelly Smith. This is my mum, Audrey. This was taken in 1947 and she was playing golf, and this is on the original course between Thorpe Street and Patterson Road. So a lot of people don't know that that course was there, and she's with some fabulous women who were leaders in our community. And this is my dad. He's third from the left in the front row, and Dad was, while he was a fantastic champion golfer as well, he also was a great cricketer, and between the two of them, sport was a big part of our life, and it continued on through my family with my husband and my children, and to a certain extent grandchildren. So let me tell you a bit about my mum. My mum was a deserted wife, and her first husband left her when her sons, my older half brothers, were only 6 and 18 months old. And then she came down from Mount Lawley with her mum, my nana, who was a bit ailing. She used her last pound to move from Mount Lawley to pay the removalist, and she went to a little house on Hymas Street in Rockingham, which is still standing. Now, my mum didn't have any more money and she had no food to feed her children, and so she went along to the Parkin Street General Store, which we now know as Big Brew's Bottle Shop. And she introduced herself to the owner, old Mr. Burkhart, and we used to call him Old Man Burkhart, and she told him her dilemma and asked if she could get some bread and milk to see them through the weekend, because she was starting at Mills and Ware's biscuit factory in South Fremantle on the Monday. And to do that, she would have to catch the bus at 6:30 in the morning and get up to start a 7:30, 8 o'clock shift, and then she wouldn't get home at night until 6 o'clock. So Old Man Burkhart said to her, Audrey, you won't just get bread and milk, you'll get whatever food you need to feed your family, and you'll do that for the next month. And then once you get yourself a little on your feet, we'll work out a payment plan. And from that day forward, the Burkharts and the Smith family became lifelong friends, and right up to the very end of their lives. With my dad came from Darwin. They were in Darwin when the Japanese actually bombed, and the story about how they got to Darwin was that my grandfather, Randall Smith, was a SP bookie in Perth, and his staff, while he was out one day, took some huge bets on a favourite horse at huge odds, and the horse of course won, and my granddad had to find £600 to pay out, and he didn't have that, and you can imagine how much that would be these days. So he left Perth and went up to Darwin and got a job with the Civil Aviation to build the new hangar at just outside of Darwin. And then he worked hard. He ended up being the manager. He started off in the office and as the accountant, and then he ended up being the manager, and he paid all his debt off, all the SP booking debt off. And then he flew my grandmother and her sister, my great auntie Kate, up to Darwin with their youngest son Peter, who was just 7, and my dad, who was 17. Then the war broke out. They were up there from 39, and the war broke out, and so they evacuated my gran and auntie and uncle by plane, and then my dad and my grandfather came down by truck through the centre of Australia, through Alice Springs, and got back to Perth after the bombing. They were there while the bombing actually happened, and my dad would ride his bike in to pick up the mail from the post office, and if he had been not getting a lift from Mr. Charlie Ong, who ran the general store, Dad would have been probably in the post office when the second bomb hit, and quite easily killed.